I've heard European officials say we need 10 years to make this transition from US leadership in Europe, but we'd really struggle in anything less than 7. Do you recognize those numbers?
The good news is, in terms of European capabilities, the air looks pretty good. There are a lot of F-35s coming on.
We have like 600 plus fighter jets across European air forces, is that right? Something in that region?
Yes, that sounds about right. I think air defense will be at the top of the list. We've seen how it's almost been a shell game to find enough Patriots to at once defend key sites in NATO ally countries, which is why you're seeing Mark Rutte and others calling for increased production in that area.
In fact, I think Mark Rutte said the alliance needs a 400% uplift in integrated air and missile defense, which sounds foreboding.
It's eye-watering. You know, even if we had the political will and the money to do that today, it would be a challenge because the industrial capacity and the personnel, frankly, are not there.
But Europe doesn't have a lot of the other enablers, right? It doesn't have particularly things like satellite capabilities for battlefield intelligence to queue up its missiles. It's not terribly good on airlift and sea lift. When the French needed to get their forces to Romania after the Russian invasion, they couldn't get them there without airlift from the US. They had the forces, but they literally could not move them in a timely fashion.
They subsequently bought C-130s to fill the gap. So
an American plane.
An American plane.
Which is just for context, for a French military to buy an American plane is, you know, you really are in the middle of a serious situation if that's happened.
That's right. I think the picture and the balance of capabilities has improved over the last decade. We already talked about the fighters, but I also see partnerships on ground-based air defense, whereby Germany is now producing these systems. SAMP-T, which is sort of the European version of Patriot, is ramping up.
Franco-Italian, I think.
Exactly. It's getting better, but no doubt there is an over-reliance on the United States for some of these key enablers, partially because the United States wanted Europeans to spend money on other things. The United States actually said, it's okay, we've got plenty of strategic lift. Please continue to rely on us. Where the real problem is, and where it's not going to change overnight, is the integrated air command and control, which largely happens out of U.S. AirCom and U.S. UCOM.
These are big headquarters with lots of planning officers, staff officers who, you know, do the hard work of making sure you can have 100 planes, but how do you synchronize them? How do you make sure they're talking to each other, all that stuff?
Yes, and that's complicated enough to do just for the United States, but when we're looking at, you know, an alliance of 32, it becomes increasingly complicated.